Simone stood in the doorway of her bedroom, her heart shattering into 1,000 pieces as she watched her husband Derek tangled in the sheets with Amber, his 24-year-old assistant. The anniversary cake she'd picked up from the bakery slipped from her hands and hit the hardwood floor with a wet thud. 8 years of marriage. 8 years of supporting his dreams, sacrificing her own career, being the perfect wife. And this was how it ended. Simone. Derek didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. He sat up casually, like she'd just walked in on him watching television. "You're home early." "It's our anniversary," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the ringing in her ears. "I left work early to surprise you." Amber pulled the sheet up to cover herself, but Simone noticed the smug little smile playing at the corners of her mouth. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't some drunken error in judgment. This was planned, comfortable routine. About that. Derek stood up and pulled on his pants with infuriating calm. "Check the kitchen counter. I left something for you." Simone backed out of the bedroom, her legs moving on autopilot. She walked down the hallway of the home they'd bought together 3 years ago, past the photos of their wedding day, past the vacation pictures from the Bahamas, past the illusion of a happy marriage that had apparently been crumbling while she remained blissfully unaware. On the pristine white kitchen counter, next to the coffee maker she used every morning, sat a manila envelope. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Divorce papers. Already filled out, already signed by Derek, just waiting for her signature to make their split official. "I've been planning this for 6 months, Derek said from behind her. He'd put on a shirt now, looking every bit the successful tech executive he'd become. "My lawyer says it's all pretty straightforward. You'll get the minimum required by law, obviously. I've made sure of that." 6 months? Simone turned to face him. "You've been planning to divorce me for 6 months? Longer if I'm being honest." He poured himself a glass of whiskey like they were discussing the weather. "My career has really taken off, Simone. I'm not the struggling startup guy you married anymore. I need someone who fits the image I'm building. Someone young, polished, connected. Someone like Amber." The casual cruelty of his words hit her like physical blows. "I supported you through everything. I gave up my own career in marketing to help you build your company. I used my savings when you couldn't make payroll. I believed in you when no one else did. And I appreciate that, I really do." His tone suggested he didn't appreciate it at all. "But that was then. This is now. You're a beautiful woman, Simone, but let's be real, you're not the kind of wife that looks good at investor dinners and tech conferences. I need someone who opens doors for me, not someone I have to explain." Simone felt something shift inside her. The pain was still there, sharp and overwhelming, but underneath it, a cold rage began to build. "You're throwing away 8 years of marriage because I don't fit your image? Because I'm not some 20-something who'll giggle at your terrible jokes and make you look good in photos? Don't make this about race," Derek said sharply. "This is about compatibility. About where I'm going in life and who I need beside me to get there. You made it about race the second you said I don't fit your image." Simone's voice was steel now. "I'm a beautiful, intelligent, accomplished black woman who sacrificed everything for you. And you're trading me in like I'm an old car that doesn't match your new lifestyle." Amber appeared in the kitchen doorway, now dressed in one of Simone's robes. The audacity of it made Simone's stomach turn. "Derek, baby, should I make myself scarce for this conversation?" "No need." Derek put his arm around Amber's waist. "Simone was just leaving. This is Amber's home now. I'll have your things packed and sent to you by the end of the week. Sign the papers and let's both move on with our lives." Simone looked at the divorce papers in her hand, then at the man she'd loved for a decade, and the woman wearing her bathrobe in her kitchen. She could feel tears threatening, but she refused to let them fall. "Not here. Not in front of them." "I'll sign," she said quietly. "But not because you want me to. I'll sign because you just showed me exactly who you are, and I deserve so much better than this." She walked out of the house with nothing but her purse and her dignity. The cake was still on the bedroom floor, chocolate frosting smeared across the hardwood that she'd spent hours picking out. "Happy anniversary" spelled out in blue icing, now just another broken promise. Simone sat in her car in the driveway for a long moment, her hands gripping the steering wheel. She could see Derek and Amber through the kitchen window, already laughing, already celebrating their victory. 8 years of her life dismissed like it meant nothing. Her phone buzzed. A text from Brianna, her best friend since college. "How's the anniversary dinner? Did Derek love the surprise?" Simone stared at the message, then at the house that was no longer her home. She started typing a response, then deleted it. Then typed again and deleted again. Finally, she just wrote, "Can I stay with you tonight? I'll explain everything." The response came immediately, "Always. I'm home. Come now." As Simone pulled out of the driveway, she saw Derek close the curtains. Out of sight, out of mind. That's what she was to him now. 8 years erased in an instant because she didn't fit the image of success he wanted to project to the world. But as she drove through the familiar streets toward Brianna's apartment, something hardened inside Simone's chest. Derek thought he'd won. He thought he'd outsmarted her, planned the perfect exit strategy, set himself up for success while leaving her with nothing. He had no idea who he was dealing with. The Simone who'd sacrificed everything for his dreams was gone, left behind in that bedroom with the ruined anniversary cake. The woman driving through the city now was someone new. Someone who would fight back. Someone who would make him regret the day he thought she was disposable. Simone didn't know exactly how yet, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Derek had made the biggest mistake of his life. And she was going to make sure he spent the rest of it regretting it. The divorce papers sat on the passenger seat beside her. She'd sign them all right. But first she'd find out exactly what Derek had been hiding. Because men like him didn't plan 6 months ahead for a simple, clean divorce. Men like him protected their assets, hid their money, and made sure they came out on top no matter who they destroyed in the process. Derek wanted a war? He was about to get one. And this time, Simone was going to be the one who walked away victorious. Brianna opened her apartment door before Simone could even knock. One look at her best friend's face and she pulled Simone into a fierce hug. What did that fool do? The dam broke. Simone sobbed against Brianna's shoulder, all the pain and humiliation pouring out in ragged gasps. Brianna guided her to the couch, grabbed tissues and waited. She'd known Simone since their freshman year at Howard University. She knew when to push and when to just be present. "He's been cheating on me with Amber," Simone finally managed to say. "For at least 6 months. Maybe longer. I came home to surprise him for our anniversary and they were in our bed. He had divorce papers waiting for me in the kitchen." "That son of a..." Brianna's jaw clenched. "I never trusted him, you know that. Always thought he was too smooth, too focused on climbing the ladder. But this is beyond cruel. He said I don't fit his image anymore." Simone laughed bitterly. "His career is taking off and he needs someone who looks good at investor dinners. Someone young and polished. Someone who isn't me." Brianna's eyes flashed with anger. "He said that to you? After everything you did for him? Simone, you gave up your marketing career to support his startup. You used your own money to keep his company afloat. You networked for him, made connections, built his reputation. And now he's throwing you away like yesterday's trash. He wants me to sign the papers and disappear quietly." Simone pulled out the divorce documents. "Look at this. He's offering me the bare minimum required by law. After 8 years of marriage and everything I contributed to his success." Brianna snatched the papers and started reading, her expression growing darker with each page. "This is garbage. This settlement is insulting. Where's all the money from his company? The house equity? Your contributions to his business?" "I don't know." Simone wiped her eyes. "He said his lawyer made sure everything was straightforward." "Straightforward for him, you mean?" Brianna stood up and paced. "Simone, listen to me. Derek didn't just decide to divorce you 6 months ago. Men like him plan these things meticulously. He's been moving money, hiding assets, setting you up to walk away with nothing while he keeps everything. But I don't even know where to start." "I do." Brianna pulled out her phone. "Patricia Monroe. She's the best divorce attorney in the city. She handled my cousin's divorce last year when her husband tried to pull the same garbage. Patricia doesn't just win cases, she destroys men who think they can cheat the system." "I can't afford a lawyer like that," Simone said. "Derek handled all our finances. I don't even know what's in our accounts anymore. Patricia offers free consultations. And trust me, when she sees what Derek is trying to pull, she'll take your case. She hates men who try to screw over their wives." Brianna was already dialing. "We're getting you an appointment tomorrow morning." That night, Simone couldn't sleep. She lay in Brianna's guest room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of her marriage. When had Derek changed? Or had he always been this person and she'd just been too in love to see it? She thought about all the late nights he'd blamed on work. The business trips that seemed to increase over the past year. The way he'd started criticizing her appearance, her clothes, her hair. Small comments that she'd brushed off as stress from his company. Now she saw them for what they were, laying the groundwork for his exit. The next morning, Simone sat across from Patricia Monroe in a sleek downtown office. Patricia was a striking woman in her 50s with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Tell me everything," Patricia said, pen poised over a legal pad. "Don't leave anything out, no matter how small or embarrassing it seems." Simone told her story from the beginning. How she'd met Derek at a tech networking event 10 years ago. How she believed in his vision for a social media analytics company. How she'd used her marketing expertise to help him secure his first major clients. How she drained her savings account to make payroll when venture capital funding fell through. "Do you have documentation of these financial contributions?" Patricia asked. "I have bank statements from back then. Emails discussing the loans. Some text messages." "Good. What about the house?" "We bought it 3 years ago. Both our names are on the mortgage, but Derek always handled the payments." Patricia made notes. "And his company? Did you receive any equity for your contributions?" "No. Derek said it would complicate things with investors if I was listed as a partner. He promised he'd take care of me regardless." "They always promise that." Patricia's smile was razor sharp. "Let me guess what's in these divorce papers. A settlement that gives you maybe 20% of the house equity, no claim to his business assets, and minimal spousal support for a short duration." Simone nodded, stunned. "How did you know?" "Because I've seen this playbook 100 times. Successful husband, supportive wife who sacrificed her career for his. Once he makes it big, he trades her in for a younger model and tries to act like her contributions never happened." Patricia leaned forward. "Here's what you need to understand, Simone. In this state, marital assets are divided equitably, not equally. That means the court considers what each person contributed to the marriage, financially and otherwise. Derek's company grew during your marriage with your help. You're entitled to a portion of its value. But I never signed anything." "You didn't need to. You were married. Your contributions count, whether Derek wants to acknowledge them or not." Patricia pulled out a contract. "I'm going to take your case, and here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to hire a forensic accountant to track every dollar Derek has moved in the past 2 years. Because I guarantee you he's been hiding money." "How can you be sure?" "Because men who plan divorces 6 months in advance don't leave anything to chance. They set up offshore accounts, funnel money through shell companies, transfer assets to friends and family. Derek thinks he's been clever. We're going to prove he's been committing fraud." Over the next 2 weeks, Simone moved through her days in a fog. She'd found a small apartment on the other side of town, furnished with items from discount stores and second-hand shops. Derek had sent her belongings in boxes, everything she'd accumulated in 8 years of marriage reduced to a few cartons of clothes and personal items. But while Simone appeared broken and defeated on the outside, inside she was gathering strength. Patricia's forensic accountant, a sharp-eyed woman named Monica, discovered what they'd suspected. Derek had been systematically moving money for 18 months. "Look at this," Monica showed Simone the paper trail. "Monthly transfers to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Payments to a shell corporation owned by his business partner. He even transferred the title of a vacation property to his brother, claiming it was a gift. But the timing is suspicious. It happened right after his company landed that major contract with the tech giant." "How much are we talking about?" Simone asked. "Conservatively? He's hidden at least $2 million in assets that should be part of the marital estate." Simone felt sick. While she'd been planning anniversary dinners and supporting his career, Derek had been plotting to rob her blind. "There's more," Monica continued. "The affair with Amber? It's been going on for at least 2 years, not 6 months. I found hotel receipts, jewelry purchases, even an apartment lease in her name that Derek has been paying for." 2 years, Simone whispered. "Our entire 7th anniversary was a lie. The cruise he took me on, the renewed vows on the beach, he was already with her." "Men like Derek are professionals at compartmentalization," Patricia said gently. "They can look you in the eye and lie without flinching. It's not about you, Simone. It's about his ego and greed." "What about Amber?" Simone asked. "Can she be charged with anything?" "Adultery isn't criminal in this state, unfortunately. But her involvement could impact the divorce settlement, especially since Derek spent marital funds on her." Patricia smiled. "We're going to hit him where it really hurts, his wallet and his reputation." That evening, Simone sat in her sparse new apartment and read through the evidence Monica had compiled. Bank statements, property records, business filings. Derek had been meticulous in his planning, but he'd left a trail. Maybe he'd thought she was too trusting to look for it. Maybe he'd underestimated her intelligence. Either way, he'd made a fatal mistake. Simone's phone buzzed with a text from Derek. Haven't received the signed papers yet. My lawyer says you're stalling. Don't make this difficult, Simone. Just sign and move on. She stared at the message for a long moment, then typed her response. I'll sign when I'm ready. My lawyer is reviewing everything. The reply came immediately. You got a lawyer? That's unnecessary. The settlement is fair. We'll see about that. Don't do this. You're embarrassing yourself. Simone blocked his number. She was done being gaslit, done being dismissed. Derek thought he held all the cards. He thought she'd sign quietly and disappear, grateful for whatever scraps he threw her way. He was about to learn that the woman he'd discarded was stronger, smarter, and more determined than he ever imagined. And by the time she was done, Derek would wish he'd never tried to play her for a fool. Patricia's office had become Simone's war room. Over the next month, they built their case brick by brick, uncovering layer after layer of Derek's financial deception. Every discovery made Simone angrier and more determined. We need to be strategic about how we reveal what we know, Patricia explained during one of their weekly meetings. If Derek realizes we've found his hidden accounts, he'll move the money again, maybe to places we can't trace. We need to let him think you're the heartbroken wife who's going to roll over. That's not going to be hard, Simone said bitterly. He already thinks I'm too stupid to fight back. Good. Let him keep thinking that. Patricia spread documents across her desk. Monica found something interesting. Derek's company just landed a massive contract with a European tech consortium. The deal was finalized 3 weeks ago, worth approximately $15 million over 5 years. But here's the thing, Derek negotiated this contract 6 months ago. Right when he said he decided to divorce you. So he knew money was coming and wanted to make sure I didn't get any of it. Exactly. The timing is too perfect to be coincidence. Patricia pulled out another file. And look at this. Derek took out a $2 million loan against the house last year. But there's no record of where that money went. It didn't go into the business. I checked the company accounts. It didn't go into your joint checking. It just disappeared. Simone's hands clenched. Let me guess. Offshore account. That's my suspicion. Monica is working with an international banking specialist to trace it. These things take time, but we'll find it. Meanwhile, what do I do? Simone asked. Derek keeps texting demanding I sign the papers. His lawyer is threatening to take me to court for delaying. Let them threaten. Every day you don't sign is another day we have to gather evidence. Patricia leaned back in her chair. But we need to make it look like you're struggling emotionally. Like you're too devastated to deal with legal matters. Can you handle that? What do you mean? I mean, can you pretend to be broken when you see Derek? Can you let him think he's won, that you're just another woman who fell apart when her husband left? Simone thought about the past month. The nights she'd cried herself to sleep. The mornings she'd dragged herself out of bed, feeling like her life was over. The pain was real, but underneath it, something harder was forming. Something unbreakable. Yes, she said firmly. I can do that. The opportunity came sooner than expected. Derek texted from an unknown number, we need to talk. Meet me at the coffee shop on Grant Street tomorrow at noon. Just you and me, no lawyers. Simone showed the message to Patricia, who nodded. Perfect. Go. Act devastated. Act like you're considering signing. Ask him why. Make him spell out exactly how little he values you. Men like Derek love to justify themselves. He'll talk and you're going to record every word. The next day, Simone dressed in old jeans and a sweatshirt, deliberately looking worn down. She didn't wear makeup, didn't style her hair. When she walked into the coffee shop, Derek was already there, looking polished and successful in an expensive suit. You look terrible, he said instead of hello. Thanks for noticing. Simone slid into the booth across from him, her phone recording in her purse. What do you want, Derek? I want this to be over. Sign the papers, Simone. You're dragging this out for no reason. 8 years of marriage isn't no reason. 8 years that are over. Derek's voice held an edge of impatience. I've moved on. Amber is pregnant, by the way. I'm going to be a father. I need this settled before the baby comes. The words hit like a punch, but Simone kept her face neutral. Congratulations. Look, I know you're hurt. Hurt. Simone laughed harshly. Derek, you destroyed my life. You cheated on me, you threw me out of my own home, you're offering me a settlement that doesn't even cover what I put into our marriage. And now you're telling me the woman you cheated with is pregnant? Yeah, I'm a little more than hurt. I didn't mean for it to happen this way, Derek said, but he didn't sound sorry. He sounded annoyed. Things changed. My business took off. You just couldn't keep up with where I was going. So this is my fault? I'm not saying that. I'm saying we grew apart. It happens. Derek signaled the waitress for coffee. The point is, dragging this out isn't going to change anything. You're not getting more money. My lawyer made sure the prenup was ironclad. We didn't have a prenup. We did, actually. You signed it the week before the wedding. My lawyer drew it up, presented it to you at the rehearsal dinner. You were so excited about getting married, you barely read it. Simone's blood ran cold. She remembered that night, remembered Derek's lawyer showing up with papers, saying it was just a formality, standard procedure. She'd been 25 years old, in love and trusting. She'd signed without question. That prenup is worthless, she said, praying it was true. You sure about that? My lawyer seems pretty confident. Derek smiled, the expression cold. Face it, Simone. You lost. I planned this perfectly. You're going to walk away with the minimum, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why are you being so cruel? I loved you. I supported you through everything. And I appreciate that, I really do. But love doesn't pay the bills, and support doesn't get you a seat at the table with the big players. Derek leaned forward. You want the truth? You were good for where I was then. But I'm playing in a different league now. I need a wife who understands that world. Someone who went to the right schools, knows the right people, looks right on my arm. Amber gets it. You never did. Because I'm black. Because you're not ambitious enough. Because you're content with ordinary when I'm reaching for extraordinary. Don't make this about race when it's about class and aspiration. Simone stood up. I need to go. Sign the papers, Simone. Don't make me drag you through court. You won't like how that ends. She walked out without responding, made it to her car, and drove 3 blocks before pulling over to collect herself. Her hands shook as she stopped the recording. Derek had just confessed on tape to hiding assets, to fraud, to manipulating her into signing a prenup under duress. She called Patricia immediately. I got it. Everything you need. Good girl. Patricia's voice was warm with approval. Now comes the hard part. We wait. We let Derek think he's safe while we build the case that's going to destroy him. Over the next 6 weeks, Simone played her part perfectly. She appeared broken when she needed to. She let Derek's calls go to voicemail. She let Brianna and other friends report back that she was struggling, barely functioning. Meanwhile, Patricia's team worked around the clock. Monica traced the $2 million loan to an account in Switzerland. They found evidence that Derek had been systematically undervaluing his company to hide its true worth. They discovered that the prenup had been signed under duress, making it invalid. They compiled evidence of adultery, financial fraud, and emotional abuse. We have enough to bury him, Patricia said during their final strategy session before filing their countersuit. But I want you to understand what's about to happen. When we file these documents, Derek is going to lose his mind. He's going to threaten, he's going to try to intimidate you, he's going to make promises and threats in equal measure. You need to stay strong. I'm ready, Simone said. And she was. The heartbroken wife was gone. In her place was a woman who knew her worth, who refused to be discarded like garbage, who was about to teach Derek the most expensive lesson of his life. Then let's do this. Patricia smiled like a shark scenting blood. It's time to show Derek what happens when you underestimate a woman who's got nothing left to lose and everything to gain. The countersuit was filed on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, Simone's phone was exploding with calls from Derek's number. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Patricia had already sent him a message that said everything. Your wife isn't the pushover you thought she was. And you're about to pay for that mistake. While Patricia's legal team prepared for battle, Simone made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. She was done putting her life on hold. The past 2 months had been about survival and strategy, but she needed more than that. She needed to rebuild the career she'd sacrificed for Derek's ambitions. I need to get back to work, she told Brianna over breakfast. Real work, not just planning Derek's destruction. Are you sure you're ready? Brianna asked carefully. The divorce isn't final yet. The trial is going to be brutal. That's exactly why I need this. Simone pushed her eggs around her plate. Derek wants me to be the broken woman who can't function without him. I need to prove, to myself more than anyone, that I'm more than what he made me believe I was. The next morning, Simone updated her resume for the first time in 8 years. Her marketing degree from Howard felt like ancient history. Her early career accomplishments, campaigns she'd run, clients she'd landed, seemed to belong to a different person. The woman who'd done those things had been confident, ambitious, hungry for success. Where had that woman gone? She's still here, Simone whispered to her reflection. Just buried under 8 years of being someone's supportive wife. She applied to 5 marketing firms that week. 3 never responded. 1 sent a generic rejection. But the 5th, Morrison & Associates, a prestigious firm known for innovative digital campaigns, called her in for an interview. The morning of the interview, Simone stood in front of her closet in a panic. Everything she owned was either too old, too casual, or bought with Derek's preferences in mind. Brianna showed up with a garment bag. "Wear this," she said, pulling out a sharp navy suit. "I bought it for a presentation last month, but it'll look better on you. And before you argue about money, consider it a loan." Simone hugged her friend. "I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd be fine. But you'd have worse outfits." Brianna smiled. "Now go show them what they've been missing." The interview was with Rachel Morrison, the company's founder and CEO. She was a formidable woman in her 60s who'd built her firm from nothing and had no patience for mediocrity. "Your resume has an 8-year gap," Rachel said bluntly. "What were you doing?" Simone had practiced this answer, but the truth still tasted bitter. "I was married to someone who needed my support to build his business. I put my career on hold to help him succeed. And now I'm getting divorced and rebuilding my own career." Rachel's expression didn't change. "Are you going to be distracted by personal drama? Because I need people who are focused on client results, not their relationship problems." Something snapped in Simone. She'd spent 2 months being the accommodating victim, playing weak for Derek's benefit. She was done apologizing for her life. "Ms. Morrison, my husband cheated on me, tried to steal everything I contributed to our marriage, and is currently discovering that his plan to leave me with nothing is falling apart because I hired the best divorce attorney in the city. Yes, it's personal drama. Yes, it's difficult. But you know what I learned from 8 years of managing someone else's success? How to compartmentalize. How to work under pressure. How to smile at events where I wanted to scream. How to make other people look good even when I'm falling apart inside." Simone leaned forward. "I don't need this job to prove anything to my ex-husband. I need it to prove something to myself. And that makes me the most motivated candidate you'll interview this year." Rachel studied her for a long moment, then smiled. "You're hired. Start Monday. We'll begin with a mid-level position, but if you're as good as you think you are, you won't stay there long." Simone walked out of the office in a daze. She'd done it. She'd taken the first step toward reclaiming her life. Her first week at Morrison & Associates was brutal. She was assigned to a struggling campaign for a tech startup that needed to rebrand after a scandal. The client was difficult, the timeline was impossible, and Simone's skills were rusty from years of disuse. But something awakened in her as she dove into market research and consumer psychology. The creative part of her brain that had been dormant for years suddenly lit up with ideas. She worked late into the night, crafting campaigns and testing messaging, feeling more alive than she had in years. "You're a natural at this," said Tyler, one of the senior strategists. "Where did Morrison find you?" "I've been out of the game for a while," Simone admitted. "Took time off for family stuff." "Well, welcome back. The tech campaign you pitched yesterday was brilliant. Client loved it." The validation felt like water in a desert. For 8 years, her accomplishments had been filtered through Derek's success. She'd helped him win clients, build relationships, grow his business. All invisibly, all without credit. Now she was doing work that had her name on it, creating campaigns that were hers alone. At the same time, the divorce proceedings escalated. Derek's lawyer filed motion after motion, trying to dismiss their evidence, questioning Monica's findings, attempting to suppress the recording from the coffee shop. "He's panicking," Patricia said with satisfaction. "Good. Scared people make mistakes." The mistake came in the form of Derek showing up at Morrison & Associates 3 weeks into Simone's new job. She was in a strategy meeting when the receptionist knocked. "Simone, there's someone here to see you. He says it's urgent." Simone's stomach dropped when she saw Derek in the lobby, looking agitated and angry. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk. Now." "I'm at work, Derek. You can't just." "I don't care where you are. This is important." He grabbed her arm. Tyler appeared at Simone's shoulder. "Is there a problem?" "No problem," Derek said, but didn't let go of Simone. "Just talking to my wife." "Soon-to-be ex-wife," Simone corrected, pulling her arm free. "And we can talk through our lawyers." "Your lawyer is destroying my reputation." Derek's voice rose. "She's spreading lies about me, digging into my business, making accusations." "You mean she's exposing the truth about your fraud?" Simone kept her voice level, aware they were drawing attention. That's not destroying your reputation, Derek. That's you facing consequences for your actions. I'll give you a better settlement, he said desperately. 50-50 split of everything. Just call off your lawyer, drop the fraud charges, sign a non-disclosure agreement. No. Simone, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. You tried to cheat me out of everything I earned, everything I built with you. Now you're offering me what should have been mine from the start? No. I want what I'm owed, and I want everyone to know exactly what kind of man you are. Rachel Morrison herself appeared in the lobby. Is there a problem here? This is a private conversation, Derek said. Not when it's happening in my lobby and disrupting my business. Rachel turned to Simone. Do you want this man removed? Simone looked at Derek, really looked at him. The man she'd loved was gone, if he'd ever really existed. In his place was a stranger who'd used her and discarded her, who was now panicking because his carefully constructed fraud was unraveling. Yes, she said firmly. Please escort him out. Derek's face contorted with rage. You're making a huge mistake. I will destroy you in court. You'll end up with nothing, living in some tiny apartment while you're explaining to investors why your company's CEO is being sued for fraud? Simone interrupted. While you're dealing with the publicity of your messy divorce and the affair you tried to hide. While Amber figures out that the money she thought you had is about to be mine. Good luck with that. Security led Derek out while he shouted threats. Simone stood in the lobby, shaking but standing tall. Rachel put a hand on her shoulder. You okay? I'm perfect, Simone said. And surprisingly it was true. That evening Patricia called with news. Derek's lawyer just filed a motion to settle. He's offering 75% of marital assets, full disclosure of all accounts and a public apology. What about the fraud charges? He wants them dropped in exchange for the settlement. Simone thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. No, I want the trial. I want him to answer for everything he did. The money matters, but the truth matters more. Are you sure? The settlement is generous. I'm sure. Derek thought I'd take the easy way out. He thought I'd be grateful for whatever scraps he threw my way. I want him to learn that actions have consequences, and some things can't be bought off. Then we go to trial, Patricia said. And Simone? I'm proud of you. As Simone hung up, she realized something had shifted. The anger was still there, the hurt was still real. But underneath it all, she felt strong. Capable. Like she could handle whatever came next. Derek had tried to break her. Instead, he'd awakened something fiercer, something that refused to be diminished or dismissed. And that woman was just getting started. The tech conference was Simone's first major professional event in almost a decade. Morrison & Associates was launching a new division focused on tech sector marketing, and Rachel had assigned Simone to the team. Networking is crucial in this industry, Rachel had told her. I want you front and center. Show them what you're capable of. Simone wore a sleek black dress and her confidence like armor. The convention center buzzed with energy, startups pitching to investors, established companies unveiling new products, thought leaders giving presentations on stages throughout the massive space. She was studying the event program when someone bumped into her, nearly spilling her coffee. I'm so sorry. The man turned around and Simone found herself looking at Julian Reeves. She recognized him immediately. Everyone in the tech world knew Julian Reeves. His company, Quantum Dynamics, was Derek's biggest competitor. Where Derek's company focused on social media analytics, Julian specialized in AI-driven business solutions. They'd been locked in a rivalry for years, competing for the same clients, the same investors, the same market dominance. No harm done, Simone said, steadying her cup. Julian's eyes widened slightly. You're Simone. Derek's soon-to-be ex-wife. She finished the sentence before he could. Yes, that's me. I apologize. That was tactless of me. Julian had the grace to look embarrassed. I'm Julian Reeves. I know who you are. Your keynote on AI ethics last year was fascinating. You follow the industry? I used to work in tech marketing before. Simone paused. Before I took time off. I'm back in it now with Morrison & Associates. Something shifted in Julian's expression. You're the new strategist Rachel Morrison hired? I've heard about you. Word is you pitched a brilliant rebranding campaign for next-gen tech that saved them from complete disaster. Rumors travel fast. Only when they're good ones. Julian smiled. Would you like to grab coffee? Real coffee, not conference center coffee. There's a place around the corner that doesn't taste like battery acid. Simone hesitated. She knew what Derek would think, would say, about her having coffee with his biggest business rival. Then she realized she didn't care what Derek thought anymore. "I'd like that," she said. The coffee shop was quiet, a refuge from the conference chaos. They sat in a corner booth, and for the first time in months, Simone had a conversation about work that wasn't tangled up in her divorce. "Derek always talked about you like you were his biggest threat," she found herself saying. "He was obsessed with beating you to every major client." "The feeling was mutual," Julian admitted. "Though I respected Derek's business acumen, even if I questioned some of his methods. His analytics platform is solid technology, even if his ethics are questionable." "You know about the divorce? The affair? The fraud allegations?" Julian's expression was sympathetic but not pitying. "It's a small industry, Simone. People talk. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry you're going through that. From what I've heard about your contributions to Derek's company, he wouldn't have succeeded without you." "That's nice of you to say." "It's not nice, it's true. I've seen the early pitch decks for his company. The marketing strategy, the client outreach, the brand positioning, that wasn't Derek's skill set. That was someone who understood psychology and consumer behavior." "That was you, wasn't it?" Simone felt tears prick her eyes. No one had acknowledged that in so long. "Yes, that was me." "Then Derek is a fool." Julian leaned back. Leaving aside the personal betrayal, which is unforgivable, he gave up his biggest business asset. "You." They talked for 2 hours. About the industry, about trends in AI and analytics, about the future of digital marketing. Julian asked her opinion on his company's upcoming campaign, and Simone found herself sketching ideas on napkins, falling into the creative flow she'd been rediscovering at Morrison & Associates. "You should come work for me," Julian said suddenly. Simone laughed. "I just started at Morrison." "I'm serious. I need someone who thinks like you. My current marketing team is competent, but they're not visionary." "You are. You barely know me." "I know enough. I know Derek was smart enough to recognize your talent and stupid enough to throw it away. I know Rachel Morrison doesn't hire people unless they're exceptional. And I know that in 2 hours of conversation, you've given me better strategic insights than my entire marketing department has in 6 months." "Julian, I can't." "Think about it. No pressure. But quantum dynamics could use someone like you. And selfishly, I'd love to have Derek's ex-wife making his biggest competitor even more successful." "Is that petty of me?" "Completely." Simone grinned. "But I appreciate the honesty." They exchanged numbers, and Simone returned to the conference feeling energized. She attended panels, networked with potential clients, and felt like she was finally stepping back into the professional world she'd left behind. That evening her phone rang. "Derek." She almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. "What do you want?" "I heard you were at the tech conference today." "So?" "I heard you were having coffee with Julian Reeves." Derek's voice was tight with anger. "Are you kidding me, Simone? My biggest competitor?" "We discussed AI trends and marketing strategy. It was a professional conversation." "Like hell it was. Julian's been trying to destroy me for years. He's probably using you to get information about my company." "I don't know anything about your company anymore, Derek. You made sure of that when you threw me out." "Stay away from him," Derek demanded. "I mean it, Simone. Having coffee with Julian crosses a line." "What line?" "The marriage is over. You made that clear when you were sleeping with your assistant. I can have coffee with whoever I want. This isn't about the marriage. This is about loyalty, about you not controlling me anymore?" Simone laughed. "Derek, you don't get to tell me who I can talk to. You lost that right when you served me divorce papers on our anniversary." She hung up and blocked his number again. Let him stew. Let him realize that his actions had consequences he hadn't anticipated. Over the next few weeks, Simone and Julian developed an unexpected friendship. They'd meet for coffee to discuss industry trends, attend networking events together, and occasionally have dinner while talking shop. It was refreshing to be with someone who valued her mind, who asked her opinion and actually listened. "You know Derek is losing his mind over this," Brianna said one evening. "My cousin works at his company, and apparently he's been ranting about you and Julian to anyone who'll listen." "Good," Simone said. "Let him see what it feels like to be replaced." "You're not replacing him though, are you? With Julian, I mean?" "No. Julian and I are friends. Professional colleagues. Nothing more." "But what?" "There's always a but." Brianna studied her friend. "You light up when you talk about him." "I light up when I talk about work," Simone corrected. "Julian makes me feel smart and capable. He challenges my ideas, respects my expertise, treats me like an equal. After years of being Derek's support system, it's nice to be someone's colleague instead of their accessory. And the fact that it drives Derek crazy is just a bonus? That, Simone admitted with a smile, is definitely a bonus. The divorce trial was set for 6 weeks away. Patricia was confident they'd win, but the process was grueling. Depositions, document reviews, strategy sessions. Derek's lawyer fought every point, questioned every piece of evidence, tried every tactic to discredit Simone's claims. But their case was solid. Monica's forensic accounting had traced every hidden dollar. The recording from the coffee shop proved Derek's intent to defraud. The prenup was thrown out due to duress. They had witnesses willing to testify to Derek's affair and his treatment of Simone. He's going to lose, Patricia said. The only question is how much. Simone attended a quantum dynamics event as Julian's guest. It was a product launch with investors and tech journalists filling an upscale hotel ballroom. Derek was there too, across the room with Amber, who was visibly pregnant now. You don't have to stay if this is uncomfortable, Julian said quietly. I'm fine. And she was. Looking at Derek felt like looking at a stranger. Whatever love she'd felt had been burned away by his betrayal and his cruelty. Derek approached them midway through the evening. Julian. Simone. Derek. Julian's tone was cool but professional. Congratulations on the European contract. I heard it's going well. Better than well. We're expanding into 3 new markets. Derek looked at Simone. You look good. Professional life must agree with you. It does. I heard Morrison is doing great work. And I heard a rumor that you might be moving to quantum dynamics. That true? I haven't decided yet, Simone said, though she'd been seriously considering Julian's offer. But yes, Julian's offered me a position. Derek's jaw tightened. Interesting timing. Right in the middle of our divorce. The divorce has nothing to do with my career decisions, Simone said firmly. I'm rebuilding my professional life. Where I choose to work is my business, not yours. Of course. Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes. I just think it's curious that my ex-wife and my biggest competitor are suddenly so close. Makes me wonder what you've been telling him about my business strategies. I've told him nothing because I know nothing. You made sure I was shut out of your business long before you decided to divorce me. Julian stepped slightly closer to Simone, a subtle gesture of support. Derek, I think you're forgetting something important. Simone is a brilliant marketing strategist in her own right. I'm interested in her expertise, not your company's secrets. Though I have to say, if you treated her contributions to your business with half the respect they deserved, maybe you'd still be married to her. Derek's face flushed with anger. Stay out of this, Julian. This is between me and my wife. Ex-wife soon, Simone corrected. And Julian's right. You never valued what I brought to your company. You used me, discarded me, and now you're angry because I'm moving on. That's not my problem, Derek. That's yours. She walked away, leaving Derek fuming. Julian followed, handing her a glass of champagne once they were safely across the room. That was magnificent, he said. The look on his face when you called him out in front of everyone, priceless. I'm tired of being quiet about what he did. Tired of protecting his reputation while he destroys mine. Simone sipped her champagne. Thank you for standing up for me. Always. Julian's expression grew serious. About the job offer. I meant what I said. Think about it. No pressure, but I'd be honored to work with you. Simone looked at him, really looked at him. Julian Reeves was handsome, successful, and kind. He treated her with respect. He valued her mind. And yes, the fact that choosing him would infuriate Derek was appealing, but that wasn't the real reason she was considering his offer. The real reason was simpler. For the first time in years, she was excited about her future. And Julian was offering her a chance to build something remarkable. I'll think about it, she promised. Seriously, think about it. As the evening ended and Julian walked her to her car, Simone realized something important. She wasn't just surviving her divorce anymore. She was thriving. Building a new career, making new connections, discovering who she was without Derek's shadow hanging over everything. And the best part? She was just getting started. The divorce trial began on a cold Monday morning in February. Simone sat beside Patricia at the plaintiff's table, facing Derek and his legal team across the courtroom. The gallery was packed with journalists, industry observers, and people who'd heard about the case and came to watch the drama unfold. Judge Helen Carver, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, called the court to order. This is a dissolution of marriage case with significant assets and fraud allegations. I expect professionalism from both parties. Let's proceed. Patricia stood to make her opening statement. Your Honor, this case is about a man who systematically defrauded his wife over 18 months, hiding assets, transferring money to offshore accounts, and attempting to leave her destitute after 8 years of marriage and significant financial contributions to his business success. We will prove through documentation, expert testimony, and Derek's own recorded words that he planned this divorce with the sole intention of keeping everything he built with her help while giving her nothing. Derek's lawyer, a sharp-faced man named Gregory Thompson, countered. Your Honor, this is a simple divorce case being complicated by a bitter ex-wife who can't accept that her marriage is over. Mr. Derek made sound business decisions to protect his company assets. Nothing he did was illegal or fraudulent. Mrs. Derek is simply trying to claim credit for her ex-husband's success and take more than she deserves. The first week was brutal. Patricia called witnesses who testified to Simone's contributions to Derek's business, former employees who remembered her developing marketing strategies, vendors who'd worked with her on campaigns, early investors who'd been impressed by her pitch presentations. She was the secret weapon, testified Grant Hughes, one of Derek's first investors. Derek was a good technologist, but Simone understood people. She knew how to position the product, how to reach customers, how to build the brand. Without her, Derek's company would have failed in the first year. Derek's lawyer tried to discredit each witness, suggesting they were biased or misremembering events. But the testimony was consistent. Simone had been integral to the company's early success. Monica took the stand to present her forensic accounting findings. With charts and documents projected on screens, she walked the court through Derek's financial movements over 18 months. The defendant transferred $2 million to a shell corporation in the Cayman Islands, Monica explained. He moved another $1 million through his brother's account to a Swiss bank. He purchased property in his business partner's name using marital funds. He systematically undervalued his company in official filings while pitching its true value to investors. In total, we estimate he hid approximately $4 million in assets that should have been disclosed in the divorce proceedings. Objection. Thompson stood. These are business decisions, not fraud. Business decisions that coincidentally happened to protect assets from his wife while he planned to divorce her? Patricia countered. Your Honor, the timing speaks for itself. Judge Carver reviewed the documents. I'll allow the testimony. Continue, Ms. Johnson. The most damaging evidence came when Patricia played the recording from the coffee shop. Derek's voice filled the courtroom. Face it, Simone. You lost. I planned this perfectly. You're going to walk away with the minimum, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then, you were good for where I was then. But I'm playing in a different league now. I need a wife who understands that world. Someone who went to the right schools, knows the right people, looks right on my arm. Simone watched Derek's face as his own words condemned him. He looked furious and trapped, like an animal in a cage of his own making. When Simone took the stand, Patricia guided her through their relationship chronologically. The early days when she'd used her marketing expertise to help Derek secure clients. The financial contributions she'd made from her own savings. The career she'd abandoned to support his ambitions. Did you receive any equity in the company in exchange for these contributions? Patricia asked. No. Derek said it would complicate things with investors if I was listed as a partner. Did you receive any compensation for your marketing work? No. I was his wife. He said we were building our future together. And when did you first learn that Derek wanted a divorce? Simone took a breath. On our 8th anniversary. I came home early to surprise him and found him in bed with his assistant, Amber. He had divorce papers waiting for me in the kitchen. The gallery murmured. Judge Carver banged her gavel for silence. Thompson's cross-examination was vicious. He suggested Simone had been a lazy wife who'd done minimal work while enjoying Derek's success. He questioned whether her early contributions had really been that valuable. He implied she was exaggerating her role out of bitterness. Isn't it true, Mrs. Derek, that you stopped working because you wanted to be a housewife? No. I stopped working because Derek asked me to focus on supporting his company full-time. Without any written agreement or compensation? We were married. I trusted him. And now that the marriage is over, you're claiming you deserve millions for work you chose to do for free? I deserve fair compensation for contributions I made to a business built during our marriage. That's what the law says. Thompson smirked. The law also says that marital contributions must be proven and valued. You have no contracts, no documentation of hours worked, no evidence that your contributions were worth what you're claiming. I have 8 years of emails, text messages, and testimony from people who watched me build that company alongside Derek. I have evidence of my financial contributions. And I have Derek's own words admitting he planned to defraud me. Simone met his eyes steadily. The evidence speaks for itself, Mr. Thompson. Derek took the stand in his own defense, trying to minimize Simone's contributions and justify his financial decisions. But Patricia tore into him on cross-examination. Mr. Derek, you testified that your wife's marketing contributions were minimal. Yet in this email from 3 years ago you wrote, and I quote, "Simone's campaign strategy is brilliant. She's the best marketer I've ever worked with." Do you stand by that statement? Derek shifted uncomfortably. I may have been exaggerating to make her feel good. Really? Because you sent that email to your board of directors when they questioned your marketing budget. Were you exaggerating to them too? No. Mr. Derek, yes or no? Did your wife's marketing expertise contribute significantly to your company's success? She helped, yes. More than help. According to Mr. Hughes's testimony, she was the secret weapon that made your company viable. Correct. She was one factor among many. Patricia pulled up another document. This is a business valuation from 2 years ago showing your company was worth $12 million. Yet in your divorce filing, you claimed it was worth only $4 million. Can you explain that discrepancy? Valuations fluctuate based on market conditions. Market conditions that somehow only affected the valuation you reported to the court, but not the valuation you reported to investors 3 months later when seeking additional funding? Patricia's voice was sharp. Mr. Derek, did you deliberately undervalue your company to reduce your wife's settlement? I reported the numbers my accountant provided. An accountant you specifically hired 2 weeks after you decided to pursue a divorce? An accountant who had no prior relationship with your company? Thompson objected repeatedly, but the damage was done. Derek looked evasive and dishonest. The jury, this wasn't a criminal trial, but Judge Carver had appointed a special master to review the financial evidence, looked skeptical of everything he said. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Expert witnesses testified about business valuation and marital contributions. Character witnesses spoke to Derek's controlling behavior and Simone's sacrifices. The evidence piled up, document after document, testimony after testimony. Finally, closing arguments arrived. Patricia stood before the judge with confidence. Your Honor, the evidence is overwhelming. Derek exploited his wife's talents, used her money, and benefited from her sacrifices while systematically planning to leave her with nothing. He committed fraud. He hid assets. He manipulated valuations. He thought he could use his wife and discard her like trash. This court has the opportunity to show him that marriage is a partnership, and partners are entitled to fair compensation for their contributions. We ask for equitable distribution of all marital assets, including the previously hidden accounts, fair valuation of the business that Simone helped build, and compensatory damages for the emotional distress caused by Derek's fraud and betrayal. Thompson argued that Simone was asking for more than she deserved, that Derek's business success was his own achievement, that the so-called fraud was just sound financial planning. Judge Carver took 2 days to review the evidence. When the court reconvened for her ruling, Simone sat with her hands folded, trying to stay calm. I've reviewed all evidence and testimony in this case, Judge Carver began, and I find the defendant's actions to be deliberate, calculated, and designed to defraud his wife of her fair share of marital assets. Derek's face went pale. The evidence shows that Simone made significant financial and professional contributions to her husband's business. She provided seed funding, developed marketing strategies, and sacrificed her own career to support his ambitions. In exchange, she received no equity, no compensation, and, as her husband planned, no recognition of these contributions in the divorce settlement he proposed. Judge Carver continued, detailing Derek's fraud, his hidden assets, his attempts to undervalue his company. With each point, Simone felt vindication washing over her. Therefore, I order the following. All hidden assets, including the accounts in the Cayman Islands and Switzerland, are to be disclosed and returned to the marital estate for equitable distribution. The business is to be valued at fair market value, not the deliberately deflated value provided by the defendant. I order a 70-30 split of all marital assets in the plaintiff's favor, reflecting her outsized contributions to the marriage and the defendant's fraud. Additionally, the defendant will pay compensatory damages of $500,000 for emotional distress and punitive damages of $250,000 for his deliberate attempts to defraud this court and his wife. The courtroom erupted. Derek looked stunned. His lawyer was already objecting, demanding an appeal. But Judge Carver banged her gavel. Furthermore, I'm ordering that all documentation of the defendant's financial fraud be made available to relevant regulatory agencies for potential criminal investigation. Marriage may be a civil matter, but fraud is criminal, and this court will not ignore evidence of potential crimes. We're adjourned. Simone sat in shock as reporters rushed to the exits. Patricia was grinning like she'd won the lottery. Brianna, sitting in the gallery, was crying happy tears. We did it, Patricia said. We actually did it. Simone looked across the courtroom at Derek, who was arguing heatedly with his lawyer. He caught her eye, and for a moment she saw real fear in his expression. Fear of the financial hit, fear of potential criminal charges, fear that his reputation was destroyed beyond repair. She felt nothing but cold satisfaction. He tried to destroy her, and instead, he destroyed himself. Outside the courthouse, Simone gave a brief statement to the press. I'm grateful for the court's decision. This was never about revenge. It was about justice and recognition for contributions that my ex-husband tried to erase. I hope this sends a message that spouses, especially women, who sacrifice their careers and contribute to their partner's success deserve to be compensated fairly. Her phone buzzed as she walked to Brianna's car. A text from Julian. Saw the news. Congratulations. You won. Drinks tonight to celebrate? Simone smiled. I'd like that. The settlement, once all assets were tallied and distributed, came to just over $6 million. More money than Simone had ever imagined having. But more than the money, she had something Derek could never take away, the satisfaction of proving her worth, of standing up for herself, of refusing to be dismissed or diminished. That evening, Simone, Brianna, Patricia, and Julian celebrated at an upscale restaurant. They toasted Simone's victory, Derek's downfall, and the future that was now wide open. What will you do with all that money? Brianna asked. First, buy my own place. A home that's truly mine. Simone sipped her champagne. Then, I don't know. Maybe invest it. Maybe start my own consulting firm. Maybe just save it and enjoy the freedom of knowing I'll never be dependent on anyone again. Whatever you do, Julian said, I still want you at Quantum Dynamics. The offer stands. Simone looked at him. Over the past months, their friendship had deepened into something she wasn't quite ready to name. But she knew she enjoyed his company, respected his mind, and appreciated how he treated her as an equal. I think, she said slowly, I'd like to accept that offer. With one condition. Name it. I want to be a partner, not an employee. I'll invest in the company, and I want equity that reflects my contributions. In writing. With lawyers involved. Julian laughed. Deal. I wouldn't have it any other way. As the evening ended and they said their goodbyes, Simone realized she'd reached a turning point. The broken woman who'd discovered divorce papers on her anniversary was gone. In her place was someone stronger, wiser, and ready to build a life on her own terms. Derek had tried to break her. Instead, he'd forged her into something unbreakable. And that, Simone thought as she headed home to her new apartment and her new life, was the best revenge of all. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Simone stood in the conference room at Quantum Dynamics, presenting her latest marketing strategy to the board of directors. The company had grown significantly since she joined as a partner, and her campaigns had been instrumental in securing major new clients. Our market share has increased by 37% in 6 months, she explained, clicking through slides showing analytics and growth projections. The AI ethics campaign positioned us as the responsible choice in artificial intelligence, which resonated with enterprise clients concerned about regulatory compliance and public perception. The board members nodded approvingly. Simone had proven herself invaluable, bringing not just marketing expertise but strategic vision that complemented Julian's technical innovations. After the meeting, Julian caught up with her in the hallway. That was brilliant. The board is thrilled with our numbers. It's good work, Simone said. But we can do better. I have ideas for expanding into the healthcare sector. Always thinking ahead. Julian smiled. That's what I appreciate about you. You're never satisfied with good enough. They'd fallen into a comfortable rhythm over the past months. Morning coffee discussions about strategy, collaborative problem solving on campaigns, occasional dinners that blurred the line between professional and personal. Simone valued their partnership, both business and personal, though she'd been careful not to rush into anything romantic. There's a gala next week for the Tech Innovation Awards, Julian said. Quantum Dynamics is nominated for Best AI Platform. Would you come with me? As my date, not just my business partner. Simone paused. They'd attended events together before, but always with the understanding that it was professional networking. This felt different. More deliberate. Are you asking me out, Julian Reeves? I am. I've been thinking about it for months, but I didn't want to pressure you while you were still recovering from the divorce. But Simone, I need to be honest, this stopped being just professional for me a long time ago. I enjoy working with you, but I also just enjoy you. Your intelligence, your humor, your strength. I'd like to see where this could go if you're interested. Simone studied him. Julian had been patient, respectful, supportive. He'd never pushed for more than she was ready to give. He'd proven himself trustworthy in business and friendship. And yes, she was attracted to him, had been for months if she was honest with herself. I'd like that, she said. Yes. I'll go to the gala with you. As your date. Julian's smile was worth the leap of faith. News of their relationship spread quickly through the tech industry. Simone made her first public appearance as Julian's girlfriend at the gala, wearing a stunning emerald dress and feeling genuinely happy for the first time in years. They were photographed together on the red carpet, Julian's hand at the small of her back, both of them laughing at something a reporter had said. The pictures hit social media within hours. Derek saw them, of course. He called Simone's number, which she'd finally unblocked, figuring he couldn't hurt her anymore. You're dating Julian? His voice was tight with anger. My biggest competitor? Yes, Derek. I am. And before you start, it's none of your business who I date. It's disrespectful. You know how I feel about Julian. I know that you're business rivals. What I don't know is why you think you have any say in my personal life. We're divorced. You chose to end our marriage. You don't get to be upset about who I date now. This is different. You're doing this to hurt me. Simone laughed. Derek, I'm dating Julian because he's intelligent, kind, successful, and treats me with respect. Because he values my contributions and sees me as an equal partner. Because he makes me happy. Your feelings about it aren't even a factor in my decision-making. He's using you to get to me. Can't you see that? No, he's not. But even if he were, so what? You used me for 8 years. You used my talents, my money, my support, and then threw me away. If Julian were using me, which he's not, at least he's treating me well while doing it. That's already an improvement over what you gave me. She could hear Derek breathing heavily on the other end. You've changed, Simone. You're not the woman I married. You're right. The woman you married was naive and trusting. She believed in you. She sacrificed everything for your success. She let you walk all over her. That woman is gone, and you're the one who killed her. The woman I am now won't accept less than she deserves. So thank you, Derek. Thank you for teaching me that lesson. She hung up before he could respond. Julian picked her up for dinner that evening, and they drove to a quiet restaurant overlooking the harbor. Over wine and seafood they talked about everything, childhood dreams, future plans, fears and hopes. I need to tell you something, Julian said as dessert arrived. When I first asked you to coffee at the tech conference, I knew who you were. I knew about your marriage to Derek, about your contributions to his company. And yes, part of me was curious about you because of that connection. Simone's stomach tightened. So Derek was right? You were using me. Let me finish. Julian reached across the table to take her hand. I was curious, yes. But the moment we started talking, all of that fell away. You were brilliant and funny and passionate about the industry. I was fascinated by your mind, not your connection to Derek. Everything that's happened since our friendship, our business partnership, now this relationship, has nothing to do with him. It's about you and me. About how I feel when I'm with you, how you challenge me to be better, how we work together. How do you feel when you're with me? Simone asked quietly. Like I found something I didn't know I was missing. Like I want to know everything about you. Like I'm lucky you gave me a chance despite the complicated circumstances. Julian squeezed her hand. I'm falling in love with you, Simone. And I wanted you to know that before we go any further. Simone felt tears in her eyes. Not sad tears, but overwhelmed tears. After Derek's betrayal, she'd wondered if she could ever trust anyone again. But Julian had proven himself over and over in small ways and large. I'm falling for you too, she admitted. It scares me a little after everything with Derek. But it also feels right. Like this is what a real partnership is supposed to look like. They left the restaurant hand in hand, and for the first time, Simone felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The next few months were a whirlwind. Quantum Dynamics won the AI Innovation Award, beating Derek's company in the process. Simone's marketing campaigns continued to drive growth. The tech press wrote glowing profiles about her comeback, calling her a marketing genius, and the woman who rose from the ashes of betrayal to build an empire. Derek's company, meanwhile, was struggling. The fraud investigation had damaged his reputation. Major clients left for competitors, including Quantum Dynamics. His company's stock price dropped. Amber had left him after learning his net worth had been cut in half by the divorce settlement, taking their infant daughter with her. Simone heard these updates through industry gossip but felt nothing beyond mild satisfaction. Derek had made his choices. Now he was living with the consequences. Her focus was on building something better. She and Julian had developed a relationship based on mutual respect and genuine affection. They challenged each other professionally, supported each other personally, and maintained healthy boundaries between business and romance. "I never want you to feel like you did with Derek," Julian told her one evening. "Like you're sacrificing yourself for someone else's success. Our relationship only works if we're both thriving." "I know," Simone said. "And I promise to tell you if that ever changes. I'm not going to lose myself again for anyone." 1 year after the divorce, Derek made one last attempt to contact Simone. He showed up at a tech conference where she was giving a keynote speech on ethical marketing in the AI age. She saw him in the audience, looking haggard and older than his 42 years. After her speech, he approached her in the speaker's lounge. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Please, just 5 minutes." Simone considered refusing but decided she was strong enough to handle whatever he had to say. 5 minutes? That's all. They stepped outside to a quiet patio. Derek looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "You look amazing," he said. "Happy. Successful. Everything I thought you couldn't be without me. I'm all those things. What do you want, Derek?" "I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I thought I needed someone different, someone who fit an image I had in my head. But Amber wasn't you. She didn't understand me the way you did. She didn't support my vision or challenge my ideas. She just wanted the lifestyle I could provide, and when the money problems started, she left. And now you want me back?" Simone guessed. "I want you to know I was wrong. About everything. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away because I was arrogant and stupid. If I could do it over. But you can't." Simone kept her voice gentle but firm. "Derek, what we had is gone. You didn't just end our marriage, you destroyed the foundation of trust and respect that made it work. Even if I weren't with Julian, even if I were single and lonely, I wouldn't go back to you. Because I know my worth now. I know I deserve a partner who values me from the beginning, not someone who only appreciates me once they've lost me. So that's it? You're choosing him over me? I'm choosing myself, Derek. I'm choosing a life where I'm valued and respected. Julian is part of that life, yes. But this decision isn't about him. It's about me knowing I deserve better than what you gave me." Derek's face crumpled. "I've lost everything. My wife, my family, my reputation. My company is failing. I have nothing left." Simone felt a flicker of pity, but she didn't let it move her. "You had the chance to build something real with me. You chose to betray that for short-term gain and ego satisfaction. These consequences are your own making, Derek. I hope you learn from them. I hope you become a better person. But I'm not going to be the one to help you through it." She walked away, leaving Derek on the patio. Julian was waiting inside, and when he saw her face, he immediately pulled her into a hug. "You okay?" "I'm perfect," Simone said. And she meant it. She'd faced her past, and it had no power over her anymore. Derek was a closed chapter, a lesson learned, a reminder of how far she'd come. What mattered now was the future she was building. With Julian, with Quantum Dynamics, with the life she'd created from the ruins of her marriage. And that future looked brighter than anything she'd ever imagined. Spring arrived with new beginnings. Quantum Dynamics announced a major expansion into Asian markets, and Simone was appointed Chief Marketing Officer with a compensation package that reflected her invaluable contributions. At 36 years old, she'd achieved professional success she'd only dreamed of in her 20s. Her relationship with Julian had deepened into something real and lasting. They'd moved in together 3 months earlier, into a modern penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. It was nothing like the house she'd shared with Derek. This space was sleek, contemporary, and entirely theirs. "I never thought I'd feel this way again," Simone told Brianna over brunch. "Like I can trust someone completely. Like I'm building a partnership instead of just supporting someone else's dreams." "Julian's good for you," Brianna agreed. "And you're good for him. His company has grown exponentially since you joined, and everyone knows it's because of your strategic vision. We work well together. In business and in life." "So when's he going to propose?" Simone laughed. We've only been together a year and a half. And after Derek, I'm in no rush to get married again. But you would marry him if he asked? Simone considered the question seriously. Yes, I would. Because what Julian and I have is completely different from what I had with Derek. We're equals. He celebrates my success instead of feeling threatened by it. He encourages me to pursue my own goals, not just support his. Marriage with him would be a partnership, not a sacrifice. The proposal came on a quiet Thursday evening. Julian had made reservations at the restaurant where they'd first had coffee during that tech conference, the place where their friendship had begun. I wanted to bring you back here, Julian explained as they settled into a corner booth. This is where I first realized you were someone special. Someone I wanted to know better. That feels like a lifetime ago, Simone said. I was so broken then. Still reeling from Derek's betrayal, barely holding myself together. You never seemed broken to me. You seemed strong. Determined. Like you were going to rebuild yourself into something even better than before. Julian took her hand across the table. And you did. You became this incredible woman, successful, confident, absolutely unstoppable in everything you do. Watching you grow over the past year and a half has been the privilege of my life. Julian, let me finish. He smiled, nervous in a way she'd never seen him. I love you, Simone. I love your brilliance and your strength. I love how you challenge me and support me in equal measure. I love the life we've built together and I want to keep building it. Forever. Julian slipped from the booth and knelt beside the table, pulling out a small velvet box. The restaurant's other diners gasped and applauded, but Simone barely heard them. She was focused entirely on the man in front of her, offering her a future built on respect and love. Simone, will you marry me? Not because you're sacrificing anything for me, but because we're better together than apart. Because what we have is real and equal and worth celebrating. Because I want to be your partner in everything for the rest of our lives. The ring was stunning, a platinum band with a deep blue sapphire surrounded by diamonds. Not traditional but perfectly suited to her. Just like everything else about their relationship. Yes, Simone said, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I'll marry you. The restaurant erupted in cheers as Julian slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her. Simone felt joy flooding through her, pure and uncomplicated. This was what love was supposed to feel like. Chosen, celebrated, cherished. They spent the rest of dinner making plans and dreaming about their future. A small wedding, they agreed. Intimate and meaningful, focused on their commitment rather than impressing anyone else. I don't need a big production, Simone said. After everything with Derek, I just want something real and honest. Whatever you want, Julian promised. This is about us, not about putting on a show. The news of their engagement spread quickly. The tech industry was abuzz with commentary. Some supportive, some cynical, some suggesting it was a strategic business move rather than a love match. Derek heard about it within hours. He called Simone's phone repeatedly until she finally answered. You're engaged to Julian? His voice was ragged. You're actually going to marry my biggest competitor? I'm marrying the man I love, Derek. Your rivalry with him has nothing to do with my decision. This is revenge, isn't it? You're doing this to hurt me. Derek, when are you going to understand? Nothing I do is about you anymore. I'm marrying Julian because he treats me like an equal partner. Because he values my contributions and celebrates my success. Because we've built something real together. Simone kept her voice firm. You had your chance at this kind of partnership and you threw it away. I'm not going to apologize for finding it with someone else. I've apologized. I've admitted I was wrong. What more do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. I'm not angry anymore, Derek. I'm just indifferent. You're part of my past, a learning experience that taught me what I won't accept. But you're not part of my future, and I need you to accept that. I can't believe you're choosing him. I'm choosing myself. And Julian happens to be someone who supports that choice instead of fighting it. That's the difference between him and you. She hung up and blocked his number one final time. Over the next weeks, Derek's behavior became increasingly erratic. He started showing up at industry events where he knew Simone and Julian would be, trying to corner them for conversation. He sent flowers to their office with cards claiming he still loved her. He posted vague messages on social media about mistakes and regrets. He's obsessed, Brianna observed. And a little scary. He's just realizing what he lost, Simone said. But it's too late. I'm not the same person I was when I was married to him. I won't let him manipulate me or make me feel guilty for moving on. The final straw came when Derek tried to attend their engagement party. Julian had organized an intimate gathering at an upscale restaurant. 50 people including close friends, family, and business associates. Derek wasn't on the guest list, but he appeared anyway, claiming he'd been invited by a mutual colleague. Julian handled it before Simone even saw Derek arrive. Security quietly escorted him out, and the party continued without incident. But later Julian told her what Derek had said. He claimed you were making a mistake, that you were confused and hurt, and you'd realize eventually that your real marriage was with him. That I was just a rebound you'd get over once you came to your senses. That's ridiculous, Simone said. I know. But he was genuinely convinced of it. Like he can't accept that you've genuinely moved on and chosen someone else. Julian looked worried. I'm concerned about his mental state. He's not behaving rationally. He's grieving what he lost, Simone said. And he's angry that the consequences of his actions aren't temporary. But that's his problem to deal with, not mine. I won't let his issues derail our happiness. They decided to hire additional security for the wedding. It felt extreme, but Derek's behavior had become unpredictable enough that they couldn't take chances. Meanwhile, wedding planning brought unexpected joy. Simone chose a simple, elegant dress, ivory silk with delicate beading, sophisticated without being showy. They selected a beautiful garden venue, intimate and romantic. Brianna would be her maid of honor, and Julian's younger brother would be his best man. I never thought I'd want to get married again, Simone admitted to her mother during a dress fitting. After Derek, the whole institution felt tainted. That's because Derek tainted it, her mother said gently. But marriage itself isn't the problem, sweetheart. The wrong partner is. Julian is the right partner. I can see it in how he treats you, how he talks about you, how he lights up when you walk into a room. You really like him? I love him for you. Because he sees your value and celebrates it instead of trying to diminish it. That's all I've ever wanted for you, someone who loves you for who you are, not who they want you to be. 2 months before the wedding, Derek's company filed for bankruptcy. The tech press covered it extensively, the downfall of a once promising CEO brought low by personal scandals and poor business decisions. Simone felt a twinge of sympathy, but mostly relief that she'd escaped before his failures could drag her down too. Julian's company, meanwhile, announced record profits and expansion plans. Simone's marketing campaigns had positioned Quantum Dynamics as the ethical leader in AI technology, and clients were flocking to them. We did this together, Julian told her at a board meeting. Your vision and my technology, combined into something neither of us could have built alone. That's what real partnership looks like. As the wedding approached, Simone found herself reflecting on her journey. From the devastated woman who'd found divorce papers on her anniversary to the successful, confident woman planning a future with a man who truly valued her, the transformation was complete. Derek had tried to break her. Instead, he'd forced her to become the strongest version of herself. And now she was about to marry someone who loved that strength, who encouraged it, who built his life around supporting it rather than containing it. Are you nervous? Brianna asked the night before the wedding. Not about marrying Julian. Never about that. Simone smiled. I'm nervous Derek will try something. But security is tight and I trust Julian to handle whatever comes up. This is our day and I'm not going to let Derek's issues ruin it. That's my girl, Brianna said. Strong and sure. Ready to build the life you deserve. As Simone drifted off to sleep that night, her last thought was simple. Tomorrow she'd marry Julian Reeves. Not to spite Derek or prove a point, but because she'd found real love, the kind built on equality and respect and genuine partnership. And that was worth celebrating. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and perfect, sunlight streaming through the windows of the hotel suite where Simone was getting ready. Brianna had taken charge of the day's schedule with military precision, ensuring everything ran smoothly. You're glowing, Brianna said as she helped Simone into her dress. I haven't seen you this happy since before Derek. Maybe not even then. Simone studied her reflection. The ivory silk dress hugged her curves beautifully, the delicate beading catching the light. Her hair was styled in soft curls, and her makeup was natural and elegant. She looked like herself, confident, beautiful, ready for this next chapter. I was happy with Derek once, Simone admitted. But it was a different kind of happiness. I was happy because I thought we were building something together. With Julian, I'm happy because we actually are building something together. There's no imbalance, no resentment, no feeling like I'm sacrificing myself. This is what real partnership feels like. Her mother knocked and entered, tears already forming. Oh baby. You're beautiful. Don't cry yet, mama. We haven't even gotten to the ceremony. These are happy tears. The best kind. Her mother kissed her cheek. I'm so proud of you. Not just for finding love again, but for knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. A text from Julian appeared on Simone's phone. Can't wait to see you. You're going to take my breath away. She smiled and typed back. You're not supposed to text the bride before the ceremony. Bad luck. I'm not superstitious. Just impatient to start our forever. The ceremony was at a private garden venue, flowers blooming in every color, a white silk canopy marking the spot where they'd exchange vows. 50 guests sat in elegant chairs, all people who genuinely cared about Simone and Julian, not just industry contacts trying to network. Everything was perfect, until security radioed the coordinator 15 minutes before the ceremony was scheduled to start. We have a situation, the head of security said quietly to Brianna. Derek is at the entrance demanding to be let in. Simone was in the bridal suite when Brianna delivered the news. For a moment anger flared. Then she took a deep breath and centered herself. He's not getting in, right? Security won't let him pass the gate. But he's causing a scene. Yelling about how you're making a mistake, how you're still legally his wife, which is completely false, and how he has a right to stop this wedding. Should we call the police? Simone's mother asked. Already did, Brianna said. They're on their way. But Simone, we might need to delay the ceremony by a few minutes while this gets sorted out. Simone looked at her reflection one last time. She'd come so far. Survived betrayal, fought for justice, rebuilt her life from nothing. Derek had tried to destroy her once. She wouldn't let him ruin this day. No delays, she said firmly. Derek doesn't get to control my timeline anymore. Tell Julian what's happening. I don't want him blindsided, but the ceremony starts at 3 o'clock as planned. Whatever Derek is doing outside those gates is his problem, not mine. Are you sure? Positive. This is my wedding day. I'm marrying the man I love, and Derek's meltdown isn't going to change that. Brianna hugged her fiercely. That's the spirit. Let's do this. As the ceremony time approached, Simone could hear Derek's voice faintly in the distance, shouting something about mistakes and regrets. Then police sirens. Then blessed silence as he was removed from the property. The string quartet began playing. Brianna walked down the aisle, radiant in her blue bridesmaid dress. Then the wedding march started and everyone stood. Simone walked down the aisle alone. She'd insisted on it, wanting to symbolize that she was choosing this marriage of her own free will, not being given away like property. Julian stood at the altar in a perfectly tailored suit, his eyes locked on her, his expression filled with love and awe. When she reached him, he whispered, "You're magnificent." "So are you." The officiant began, but Simone barely heard the traditional words. She was focused on Julian's hands holding hers, warm and steady. On his eyes, which had never looked at her with anything less than respect and admiration. On the future they were about to pledge to each other. Julian and Simone have chosen to write their own vows, the officiant said. Julian went first. Simone, when I met you, you were rebuilding yourself after someone tried to tear you down. I watched you transform from a woman in pain to a force of nature. You're brilliant, strong, and utterly unstoppable. You challenge me to be better, smarter, kinder. You've made me rethink what partnership means and what love can be when two people truly see each other as equals. I promise to always celebrate your success, support your dreams, and stand beside you. Never in front of you or behind you, but beside you. You're not my better half. You're my equal partner in everything. Simone blinked back tears. Then it was her turn. Julian, you showed me what real love looks like. Not grand gestures or empty promises, but consistent respect and genuine partnership. You value my contributions, celebrate my victories, and support me without trying to control me. You helped me remember who I was before I lost myself in someone else's ambitions. You encouraged me to rebuild not just my career but my sense of self-worth. I promise to be your partner in all things, business and life, joy and challenge, success and setback. I promise to never ask you to be anything other than who you are, and to always be my authentic self with you. This is what marriage should be, and I'm honored to build this life with you. The rings were exchanged, Julian's band matching Simone's sapphire engagement ring. As they said their I do's, Simone felt a sense of rightness settle over her. This was where she belonged. This was the life she'd fought for. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant declared. You may kiss your bride. Julian pulled her close, and their kiss was met with applause and cheers from their guests. As they walked back down the aisle together, Simone caught sight of Brianna crying happy tears, her mother beaming with pride, Julian's family welcoming her with open arms. Derek had tried to disrupt this day and he'd failed. He was being processed at the police station for trespassing and disturbing the peace while Simone was celebrating the beginning of her new life. The reception was elegant and joyful. Speeches from friends and family, dancing, laughter, and genuine celebration. When it was time for their first dance, Julian held Simone close as they swayed to a song about building a life together. "Did Derek really try to crash the ceremony?" he whispered. "He tried. Security handled it. It doesn't matter." Simone rested her head against his chest. "He's not part of this. He's not part of us. Today is about our future, not my past." "I love you," Julian said simply. "I love you too." As the evening progressed, Simone found herself surrounded by love and support. Friends congratulated her. Business associates praised the partnership she and Julian had built. Her mother whispered how proud she was. Everything felt perfect and earned. During a quiet moment, Brianna pulled Simone aside. "I need to tell you something." Derek posted on social media. Simone's stomach clenched. "What did he say?" "That you were making the biggest mistake of your life. That Julian is using you to destroy him. That you'll regret this marriage and come running back to him." Brianna showed her the post. Simone read Derek's rambling message, desperate, delusional, and sad. Then she handed the phone back without comment. "Aren't you going to respond?" Brianna asked. "No. Derek is shouting into the void, trying to get a reaction from me. If I respond, I'm giving him what he wants, proof that he still has power over me. The best response is no response. Let him rant. I'm too busy being happy to care what he thinks." "Damn straight," Brianna said, hugging her. "You've won, Simone. You survived his betrayal, you fought for what you deserved, and now you're married to an amazing man who treats you right. Derek can post whatever he wants. It doesn't change reality." The evening ended with Simone and Julian leaving for their honeymoon. 2 weeks in Greece, exploring ancient ruins and relaxing on beaches. As they drove away from the reception, confetti and streamers trailing behind their car, Simone felt lighter than she had in years. "Happy?" Julian asked, taking her hand. "Incredibly happy. This was perfect. Even with Derek's attempted disruption? Especially with it. Because it proved that he has no power over me anymore. He tried his worst, and all he managed to do was get arrested while I married the love of my life. That's not revenge, that's just consequences." Julian laughed. "I love how you think. Practical, strategic, and completely unbothered by his nonsense." As they drove through the city toward the airport, Simone looked at her wedding ring, a symbol not just of marriage but of reclaiming her life and her worth. Derek had tried to reduce her to nothing, to make her believe she was only valuable as his support system. He'd been wrong. She'd proven him wrong. And now she was building a life with someone who understood that she'd always been extraordinary, she'd just been with someone too insecure to appreciate it. The best revenge, Simone thought as they boarded their flight to Athens, really was living well. And she'd never lived better than she was right now. 3 years after her wedding, Simone stood in the executive boardroom at Quantum Dynamics, presenting the quarterly earnings report. The numbers were exceptional, a 43% increase in revenue, expansion into 12 new international markets, and recognition as one of the top 3 AI companies in the world. "Our ethical AI framework has become the industry standard," Simone explained to the board. "Major corporations are choosing Quantum Dynamics specifically because of our commitment to responsible technology. This positioning has given us a competitive advantage that translates directly to market share and profitability." The board members nodded approvingly. Simone had been promoted to Chief Strategy Officer 6 months earlier, overseeing not just marketing but overall business direction. Her strategic vision had transformed Quantum Dynamics from a successful company into a dominant force in artificial intelligence. After the meeting, Julian found her in her office. "Brilliant presentation as always." "We make a good team," Simone said, pulling him close for a kiss. 3 years of marriage had only deepened their partnership. They'd learned how to balance their professional and personal lives, how to support each other without losing themselves, how to build something together that made them both better. "Have you seen the tech news today?" Julian asked, pulling up an article on his tablet. Simone scanned the headline, "Tech Startup Founder Struggles After Bankruptcy, Where Did Derek Go Wrong?" The article detailed Derek's downfall. His company had never recovered from the financial hit of the divorce settlement and the reputation damage from the fraud allegations. He tried to launch a new startup but couldn't secure funding. He was now working as a mid-level consultant at a company he would have sneered at during his glory days. "Should I feel bad for him?" Simone mused. Some days I almost do. Then I remember what he did and how he treated me, and I realize he earned exactly what he got. You're kinder than I am, Julian said. I don't feel bad for him at all. He had everything, a brilliant wife, a successful company, a bright future. He threw it all away for ego and a younger woman who left him the second the money dried up. Speaking of Amber, Simone said, I heard she married a real estate developer. Someone actually wealthy this time. Good for her, I guess. At least she learned to aim higher. They laughed together, the kind of comfortable humor that came from being truly secure in their relationship. Simone rarely thought about Derek anymore. He was a closed chapter, a cautionary tale, a reminder of who she'd been and how far she'd come. That evening, Simone attended a tech industry gala where she was being honored as one of the top 50 women in technology. The award recognized her contributions to marketing innovation and ethical AI practices. As she accepted her award and gave her acceptance speech, she looked out at the audience, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators, and felt a deep sense of pride. Thank you for this honor, she said. But I want to be clear about something. My success isn't just mine. It's built on partnership, with my husband Julian, with the incredible team at Quantum Dynamics, with mentors like Rachel Morrison who believed in me when I was rebuilding my career. No one succeeds alone. We rise together or not at all. The audience applauded. Afterward, dozens of young women approached her, asking for advice on navigating the tech industry, on rebuilding after setbacks, on standing up for themselves. How did you do it? One woman asked. How did you come back from everything you went through? I learned my worth, Simone said simply. I stopped accepting less than I deserved. I found people who supported me instead of using me. And I refused to let someone else's betrayal define my future. You can survive anything if you remember that you're valuable, with or without anyone else's validation. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Later that night, as Simone and Julian drove home, she reflected on her journey. From the devastated woman who'd found divorce papers on her anniversary to the award-winning executive married to her equal partner, the transformation had been complete. Do you ever regret it? Julian asked as they walked into their penthouse. Marrying me, I mean. Given everything with Derek, the industry gossip, the complications. Never. Simone kissed him. You showed me what real love looks like. What real partnership means. I wouldn't change a single thing about our relationship. Even the part where Derek tried to crash our wedding? Especially that part. Because it proved to me, and to him, that he had no power over my happiness anymore. That chapter was closed and nothing he did could reopen it. A few days later, Simone received an unexpected email. It was from Derek. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, he wrote. And I understand why. But I wanted you to know that I'm in therapy now, dealing with the narcissism and control issues that destroyed our marriage. I'm not asking for forgiveness or trying to get you back. I just wanted to acknowledge that you were right about everything. I was cruel, dishonest, and manipulative. I destroyed the best thing in my life because I couldn't see its value until it was gone. I'm truly sorry for the pain I caused you. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I hope you're happy now. I hope Julian treats you the way I should have. You were always too good for me. I was just too arrogant to realize it. Simone read the email twice, then showed it to Julian. What do you want to do? He asked. Respond? Ignore it? I think I'll respond actually. Not because I owe him anything, but because it might help both of us find closure. She wrote, Derek, thank you for the apology. I appreciate you taking accountability for your actions. I'm glad you're getting help and working on yourself. You're right, I'm happy now. I found the partnership and respect I deserved, and I'm building a life I'm proud of. I hope you continue your therapy and learn to treat your next partner better than you treated me. I wish you well, but I need you to understand that this is goodbye. I'm closing this chapter completely and moving forward. Take care of yourself. She sent the email and immediately felt lighter. Not because Derek's apology meant anything, but because she'd given herself permission to let go completely. How do you feel? Julian asked. Free, Simone said. Finally, completely free of that part of my life. Time passed. Quantum Dynamics continued to thrive. Simone became a sought-after speaker on topics of corporate ethics and marketing innovation. She and Julian bought a house in the countryside for weekends, adopted a rescue dog named Phoenix, and talked about maybe having children someday. One Saturday afternoon, Simone was at the grocery store when she literally ran into Derek. He looked thinner, tired, older than his 45 years. He was buying basic supplies, Nothing fancy, nothing that suggested the lifestyle he'd once enjoyed. "Simone," he said, clearly surprised. "Hi, Derek. How are you?" "I'm okay. Working on myself like I said. My therapist says I'm making progress." He gestured to his cart. "Not living large, but I'm getting by." "That's good. I hope things improve for you." "They won't go back to what they were. I destroyed that possibility myself." Derek met her eyes. "But maybe that's for the best. That version of me was pretty terrible." "We all make mistakes," Simone said gently. "The question is whether we learn from them." "I'm trying to. For what it's worth, I read about your award. Top 50 Women in Technology. I always knew you were brilliant. I just didn't appreciate it until it was too late." "I appreciate that. But Derek, I need you to know something. My success isn't about you. It's not revenge, it's not proving you wrong, it's not showing you what you lost. It's about me finding my own path and building something meaningful with people who value me. You're not part of that story anymore." Derek nodded. "I understand. And I'm glad you found happiness. Julian seems like a good man." "He is. He treats me like a partner, not a possession. That makes all the difference." They said awkward goodbyes and Simone drove home feeling oddly at peace. Seeing Derek, really seeing him, stripped of his arrogance and success, she felt nothing but pity. He'd destroyed everything for pride and ego, and now he was paying the price. But she'd built something better. She'd found real love, real partnership, real success. And none of it depended on Derek's failure. She would have been happy even if Derek had remained successful, because her happiness came from within, from the life she'd built, from the person she'd become. That evening, she and Julian sat on their balcony, watching the sunset over the city. Phoenix dozed at their feet, and they held hands in comfortable silence. "I saw Derek today," Simone said. "At the grocery store." "How was that?" "Fine, actually. He looked sad and defeated, but also like maybe he's finally learning to be a better person. I felt sorry for him, but not in a way that makes me want to help him. More like I'm sorry anyone has to learn life lessons that harshly." "But you don't regret what happened? How it all played out?" Simone thought about it carefully. "No. I don't regret any of it. Not the marriage, not the betrayal, not the divorce, not the fight for what I deserved. All of it brought me here to this moment with you. If I could go back and change it, if I could make Derek not cheat, not betray me, not destroy our marriage, I wouldn't. Because that alternate timeline doesn't lead to you. It doesn't lead to quantum dynamics, to my career success, to this life we've built. Everything that happened was painful, but it was also necessary." Julian pulled her close. "I love you. I love you too. And I love the life we've built. A real partnership where we both thrive. That's worth more than anything I lost." As the sun set and the city lights began to twinkle, Simone reflected on her journey one last time. She'd been broken and rebuilt. She'd fought and won. She'd lost everything and gained something better. Derek had tried to destroy her, but instead, he'd freed her. Freed her to become the woman she was always meant to be, strong, successful, independent, and loved by someone who truly deserved her. The best revenge wasn't making Derek suffer. It was building a life so good, so fulfilling, so genuinely happy that his betrayal became nothing more than a footnote in her story. A lesson learned, a chapter closed, a stepping stone to something better. Simone had won. Not because Derek had lost, but because she'd built something wonderful from the ruins he'd left behind. And that victory, the quiet triumph of a life well lived, love well earned, success well deserved, was sweeter than any revenge could ever be.